They tell us history moves forward, a steady march from the primitive to the digital. But if you look closely at the architecture of 2026, something else is happening. We're moving in a circle, returning to the age of the God King. This week, in the humid air of Doral, Florida, a 22-foot, gold-leafed statue of the President of the United States was unveiled at his own golf club. They're calling it the Don Colossus, a bronze sculpture 15 feet tall, mounted on a 7-foot pedestal, coated in real gold leaf. The President with his fist raised, recreating the moment after the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt in 2024. Here's where it gets interesting. The statue wasn't paid for by a campaign or a super PAC. It was commissioned by a group of cryptocurrency investors using a meme coin called Patriot, about $450,000 total, sculpted by a 73-year-old artist in Ohio who told the Miami New Times the entire process was, quote, a cluster. The dedication ceremony was led by Pastor Mark Burns, one of the president's closest religious allies. Burns put the president on speakerphone in front of the crowd.
I want to thank you. I know it was done from love, and I want to thank Mark Burns, a pastor. He's a good pastor. He's a good man. I've known him a long time. He's been with me from the beginning, right from the beginning, maybe about 2 days later, right?
He told reporters this wasn't a golden calf. He said, quote, we worship the Lord Jesus Christ and Him alone. Then he said something else. He called it, quote, a visible sign of a movement. Back in 2016, the religious right viewed Donald Trump as a Cyrus figure, a flawed secular protector, a vessel God could use without being one of His own. 10 years later, that framing has shifted. Political power, evangelical blessing, and crypto financing are all converging on a single image. A man with his fist in the air, dipped in gold. When pastors are dedicating gold statues of sitting presidents and crypto investors fund the project to promote a meme coin, you're no longer in a normal political moment. While that ceremony was unfolding in Florida, a very different kind of announcement was being prepared at the Pentagon. On May 8th, the Pentagon launched a new website. The address, War.gov/UFO. The Department of Defense itself posting 162 declassified UAP files for public download. Photos, videos, internal memos, astronaut transmissions from 1965. Federal agents describing, and I'm quoting directly from a Pentagon document, orbs similar to the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. CBS, CNN, NBC, Bloomberg. Every major outlet is reporting it the same way. Government finally tells the truth. The American people can decide for themselves. But here at DNAi, we're asking a different question. Why now? For 70 years, this information was a national security secret. Suddenly, in the same month, the Pentagon signs classified AI deals with 7 major tech companies. In the same week, a gold statue of the president is being blessed by evangelical pastors. The truth comes flooding out. This is the cosmic distraction. To build a one-world agenda, you need a universal enemy. National borders only matter when threats are national. If the threats come from above, from somewhere none of our governments can defend against, the logic of separate nations starts to crumble. You need a global response, a global authority, a global infrastructure of surveillance, defense, and information control. Here's where you need to pay attention. The UFOs are the spectacle. AI is the infrastructure. While you're scrolling through declassified orb footage, the Pentagon just signed deals with OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, AWS, NVIDIA, SpaceX, and Reflection to deploy AI inside its most classified networks. They're calling it an AI-first fighting force. The one company that refused those deals, Anthropic, got blacklisted. They sued the administration. They won in court. Then their CEO walked into the White House last month for a closed-door meeting. At the same time, the Navy is building a project called NEREUS, Networked Expeditionary Routing and Exchange for Undersea Systems, a network connecting submarines, underwater drones, and seabed sensors into one integrated, AI-powered grid. The skies are being declassified. The oceans are being wired up. Connect those dots and you're looking at the early scaffolding of a global surveillance architecture. The pieces are being announced in plain sight, in the same news cycle, by the same administration. Which brings us to the White House itself, where construction has been underway since last fall. Most coverage frames it as a vanity project, a ballroom, a rich man's renovation, The East Wing Modernization project is a 90,000 square foot expansion of the White House. Above ground, it's a state ballroom. Bulletproof glass, ornate columns, classical architecture. Below ground, something else entirely. In court filings, the Trump administration confirmed that beneath the ballroom, the U.S. military is building what they're calling a massive complex. That complex includes a new Presidential Emergency Operations Center, a surgical hospital, a command center, bomb shelters, and drone defense infrastructure, all hardened against attack. The president said it himself back in March. The military's building a massive complex under the ballroom. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military. A federal judge ordered above-ground construction to pause until Congress approves it. The underground work? That continues. Classified. National security exemption. Here's the detail you cannot ignore. In July of 2025, when the project was announced, the ballroom was going to seat 650 people. By September, the president said it would hold 900. By October, he confirmed the final number publicly, 999. 999 is the inverse of 666. I'm not telling you that's why they picked it. I'm telling you it's a strange final number to land on, after walking it up from 650, especially for a building with a fortified bunker beneath it. After last weekend's shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Washington Hilton, Senate Republicans on May 4th proposed an additional $1 billion in taxpayer money for above-ground and below-ground security features. The ballroom itself is privately funded by Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Google, Booz Allen Hamilton, Lockheed Martin, and Palantir. The biggest tech companies on Earth funding a private ballroom on top of a classified military bunker at the seat of American executive power. See the convergence? The statue prepares the population to follow a leader who's been spiritually anointed. The UFO disclosure manufactures a planetary-scale threat that justifies global authority. The bunker provides the physical, fortified seat of power, paid for by the same tech and defense interests, building the surveillance architecture above and below the surface. These aren't three separate stories. This is one story told in 3 rooms. The Great Reset was supposed to be a boardroom theory, a Davos talking point. What we're watching now is something more concrete. The boardroom moved into the ballroom sits on top of the bunker connects to the military. The military runs on AI built by the companies funding the ballroom. When the Don Colossus stares out across the fairway in Doral, when the Orbs flicker across the Pentagon's website, when the 999 take their seats above the underground complex, ask yourself who built the cage, who gilded it, and who handed you the key in the form of a meme coin. If this hit different, subscribe. New episodes every Monday. Drop a comment with what stood out. See you in the next one.